meeting is now called to order. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Corman? Mr. Prince?
Here.
Mr. Person? Ms. Witchy?
Here.
Mr. McIrvin?
Here.
Ms. Perez?
Here. Here.
Mr. Pavoni?
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, 2 absent.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
I move that the absent council members be excused.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni and second by Mr. Prince. The council excuse council members Corman and Person. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So we have a very special presentation tonight, proclamation this evening. It's probably not a surprise to anybody that we have a great company that builds the best airplanes in the world on the shores of Lake Washington and Renton. And they're celebrating a big birthday this year, 100 years, 75 of those years right here in Renton. And so this evening, we have a proclamation to present to Boeing.
Okay, proclamation. Whereas William E. Boeing founded the Boeing Company in Seattle, Washington in 1916, and the company is a leading corporate citizen and valued partner in Renton and Washington State, and whereas Boeing opened a factory in Renton in 1941 and has been a valued member of the Renton community for 75 years, and whereas Boeing products play a major role in our daily lives by transporting people and goods across our country and the globe, and whereas a Boeing airplane produced in Renton takes off or lands somewhere in the world every 1.9 seconds, 24 hours a day, and 7 days a week, and whereas Boeing is a major driver of prosperity in Renton, having employed thousands of citizens and thereby supporting Renton families for generations, and whereas Boeing is on the cusp of producing 2 new airplanes, the 737 MAX and the 777X, exclusively in Washington State. And whereas Renton is home to the 737 MAX, and the first MAX airplane is named Spirit of Renton. And whereas Boeing is approaching the 100th anniversary of its founding on July 15, 2016. Now therefore I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim July 15, 2016 to be Boeing 100th Anniversary Day in the City of Renton, and commend Boeing for its contributions to the Renton community and wish the company success in the next 100 years. And witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 27th day of June 2016, signed by Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the proclamation be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that this proclamation be adopted as read. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It's my honor to present this proclamation to Eric Nelson, who is the Vice President of Field Operations with the Boeing Company.
Thank you, Mayor Law and the Renton City Council for recognizing Boeing's 100th anniversary. It's quite an honor. I'm honored to accept this proclamation on behalf of the 737 leadership team, the thousands of Boeing employees that currently work in Renton, and the many more thousands of Boeing employees who have worked at Boeing in Renton over the many years. Boeing has a special relationship with Renton, and aerospace is part of the Renton community. 2016 is also a special anniversary for Boeing and the City of Renton as well, since it marks the 75th anniversary of opening the Boeing Renton plant. During those 75 years, we've seen amazing successes with the original B-29, the 707, the 727, the 737, the 757, and now the new 737 MAX. What an amazing aerospace partnership we have here in Renton. At Boeing, we are focused on building the most competitive aerospace company and products, not just for the first 100 years, but even more significantly, those that will ensure continued success for the next 100 years. Renton will play a key role in Boeing's future. The ramp-up of 737 production rates is critical to the entire company's success. We look forward to working closely with the City of Renton and the Renton community to achieve historic production rates of 47, 52, and eventually 57 airplanes per month built right here in Renton by 2019. Thank you all for each of you, what you do individually and as a collective to make that a reality. And finally, thank you for this proclamation on behalf of the City of Renton and the Renton community. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for being here. We can't say enough about the importance of the relationship between Boeing and the City of Renton. You know, it's part of the fabric of the entire city. Very few people that you talk to don't have a connection, whether it's a family member, a cousin, uncle that has worked for the company, retired from the company, played a role in building, well, B-29s to the 737 MAXs. It's just, it's amazing story, and we're really excited that you're continuing to move forward with all this success. If you don't mind, we want to try to get a picture up here in front. And
Sure. Where would you like?
Yes, that'd be great.
Give me just a second. Test the lighting. Make sure. I guess I'll be on this side. Okay. Now we'll do the lighting.
Okay.
Have it been in the back, just kind of spread out. There we go. You're good? One, two. Last one. Thank you. Fine, and you?
Good to see you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank
It's quite a pleasure. and honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well,
Thank
with
you very
this,
much.
Thank you.
Well, that was a nice way to start off the council meeting. Now we're going to move on to a special presentation from the Renton Rowing Club. Kelly Beamer's here to introduce that.
Hi, Mayor Law, council members. I'm Kelly Beamer, Community Services Administrator for the city. It is my pleasure to be able to introduce Matthew Lacey, the Executive Director of the George Pocock Rowing Foundation. George is going to give, or Matt, excuse me, Matt's going to give a brief presentation on their first complete year, and they're just now heading into their second year down at the boathouse at the mouth of the river, and coincidentally, right next to the Boeing plant. At this time, I'd like to introduce Matt Lacey, please.
Yeah, well, get right back to the start. Well, hello, council members and Mayor Law. Thank you for the time. And it's I think, a perfect segue to have Boeing in here, because in the shadow of that magnificent plant is the Renton Rowing Center. And we have to drive by these planes and often row underneath them as they take off every day. And we want to let you know a little bit about what's happening down at the Cedar River Trail Park and the Renton Rowing Center. So in 2014, we opened up the Renton Rowing Center and opened up, hopefully, the lake to the citizens of Renton and got Renton rowing. And I just wanted to briefly bring you up to speed on why rowing. I mean, why would we do such a thing? And the best way to answer that question is to briefly tell you about why we love the sport so much. And it's just three principal areas. Fitness, it's definitely a physical activity, but oftentimes, and especially for youth, more important, the friendships that are built when they go ahead and get involved in the sport. And it is fun when you get down to it. We do sit in our rear ends and go backwards, which is an exciting thing to do. But to sum it up, the sport can truly be transformative for young people. And all of these young men, I happen to know when they were 12 and 13 getting involved in the sport, and every single one of them was able to go off and row collegiately, some at the Ivy League, some in Northwest schools. But it definitely changed the course of their lives and opened up doors of opportunity that otherwise they would not have had. And so in 2014, the George Pocock Rowing Foundation, of which I'm the director, opened up the Renton Rowing Center with the idea to go ahead and ensure that the community members in Renton had access to this terrific sport that's defined the Northwest. And since we opened those doors in 2014, we've taught over 300 individuals how to row. 140 of those adults are continuing on in some way. We run rentals down there at this boathouse to go ahead and then support the operations, especially the youth-focused operations. And 2,000 individuals have come down and jumped out onto the lake and on a paddleboard or a kayak through a rental. But most importantly, we've had now the ability to connect the sport to over 100 kids from the area. And this 25 of those kids most recently are involved in our youth team, which is practicing 4 days a week, a couple hours a day. And we'll actually see a couple of pictures of those kids. And so my primary purpose in being here today, make sure you know about those kids and what's going on in the community down there in the shadow of the Boeing Boathouse. One of the main reasons that we've been able to be so successful, the partnerships we've been able to establish to operate the boathouse down there. Not only the city of Renton, where we have the ability to get into this wonderful boathouse and run the programming that we do. Parks and Recreation has been truly supportive. We partner with them on establishing some visibility with the rowing community. Renton Public Schools have been supportive. We run a program now where kids in middle school are now able to go ahead and then learn about rowing and take part of it in their physical education curriculum. King County, this is one of our most impactful partnerships. Through the King County Youth Sports Facilities Grant, we're going to be putting in a brand new dock down at the boathouse that hopefully is going to be installed soon. I think our permitting is coming through all green, and we should go ahead and have that coming into play very, very shortly. And we've been able to go ahead and reach, with rowing, communities that otherwise would never have had the opportunity. Green River College has some students from their exchange program coming down. We just got the Renton Academy, which Kate Bernay, one of our wonderful staff members, is working with them on making sure that they have access to the sport. And finally, up to us, we are able to go ahead and get AmeriCorps participants and then bring them down to serve as rowing coaches, since they're interacting with kids in a unique and powerful way. I just wanted to go to then show some of the signs we've been working in. We're going to have a new sign at the entrance to the park, which is going to go ahead and then highlight rowing, which I think is going to be terrific, and the other opportunities that are available through the park. Hopefully we'll drive some more public down to that corner of the city. This is a brief diagram of the new dock that we've been working on. Here are some of the kids that some of our Up to Us coaches are working with. Some photos of the Green River students down on the pier and getting out in the water. This is just a photo of one of the wonderful days the Renton Academy spent down at the boathouse. And all of these partnerships allow us to go to then create some terrific experiences for adults and kids. And I wanted to make a couple introductions, if I could. One of the best partnerships we had are with the volunteers that support us in doing what we do. And so I wanted to call out a couple of the people in the audience. Right behind me is Kate Bernay. She's our operations manager down there at the boathouse and is working with every rower that we have. Al McKenzie is here in the audience, and Al has been rowing in Renton in every iteration and every form, I think since the early 80s. Cheryl Eastberg is to his left, and both Cheryl and Al are also on the foundation board but serve on the committee that helps us operate the Renton Rowing Center. Mary Kay Wegner is off to their left. Ann Bryant is here. She helped us design the sign and work with Parks and Rec in getting that to happen. Kent McCleary is back here, one of our teachers, and then is also teaching Learn to Row programs. And Mike Walsh is back here in a corner and helps us keep everything afloat. And so I really just wanted to go ahead and then bring a sense of what's happening with the community down to you so you can see it. Our sport is not necessarily one you can ever see unless you happen, as you're driving by, to see some folks out there distant floating around in the water. And so here are some of the kids that are rowing now here training for their first ever regional championship where they got to go down and race programs. Here's a group of students learning to row, and if we can get smiles out of a group of kids in the rain in 50-degree weather, we figure we're doing something right.
That's right.
This is a group of our adults that were able to race the first time up in Seattle at the Green Lake Regatta. And this photo, most particularly, I cherish because this is the group of 13 students. Last year, when we had just started, it was only 2. Now we had 13 students that were going off to the regional championships to race. And it's that kind of exponential growth that we're hoping to continually see the longer we stay in the community and more people become aware of the opportunity to row. And so we just wanted to come here, stand before you and say thank you for the opportunity to do what we're doing. But I also wanted to let you know that we are thinking bigger. So we are down in our boathouse, but we want to envision rowing become a much larger part of life of the Renton community. And we're hoping for a big race down at the Coulon Park, Jean Coulon Park. It's a perfect venue for some exciting racing. We want to go ahead and then use it in that way, hopefully next summer. We want to go ahead and then see 50 kids from every school in the city of Renton participating. We understand we're opening up several new schools. And with all of these kids now growing up in the city, we want to make sure they have every opportunity. And rowing, we want rowing to be one of those opportunities for them. And more than anything else, we have For the Love of Renton wall that's out here on the other side of your council offices. And we'd like rowing to be one of those reasons that people love this city. And so we have the Renton Rowing Center up on that wall the next time it comes around. So not only are we grateful, but we're hoping to become a bigger part of this community. So thank you for being here. I wanted to actually bring Kate up just to make a brief invitation to you all and to say hello.
Hi, I'm Kate Bernay.
Hi, Kate.
I'm new to this city. I just started as the operations manager just last fall, but it's been an amazing opportunity, and to be a part of this community is very powerful, and I just wanted to thank you for allowing us to be down there. I have I get to work with people that from ages from 70 to that just competed in the championships this weekend. And I also work with 12-year-olds. So it's kind of a sport by rowing, right? That everyone can participate at any age. So, and everyone can do it at the same time. So it's the greatest sport to bring people together. And I would love to invite you guys to come down and be a part of it. We have adult Learn to Rows. And we have National Learn to Row days that are free to the community. So you guys have no reason not to come and learn to row. And we also have a fundraiser benefit happening in July 30th. So you guys are more than welcome to come, and we'd love to have you. So thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Matt, thank you both for being here. We're really pleased that you're operating the rowing club down there and the facility. I think what's really great, too, is the fact that you're introducing kids that would never really have an opportunity to even know what that's all about. And it gives them a chance to see what it's like and then get involved in it if they would have some interest. And so we've heard nothing but great things about the work you're doing down there and appreciate it very much. So, Council, do you have any questions or comments?
No.
That means everybody's happy, so.
That's great.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the volunteers who came down also today. I appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Okay. All right, moving on to administrative report. Preeti?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have several street maintenance and road closures that have traffic impacts. I'll share some of those quickly. Starting today through July 1st, approximately from 8 to 3, we have possible lane closures on Duval Avenue Northeast and near the intersection of Northeast 9th Street. Again, from today through Sunday, July 3rd. The 2 west lanes of Main between 2nd and 3rd will be closed for project improvements. The east lanes will be open. From today through July 3rd again, some lane closures on Southwest 41st Street, Southwest 43rd Street, and Lind Avenue Southeast around IKEA for utility installation. Monday, June 27th through July 8th, approximately from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Street crews will be grinding and repaving both directions of Talbot Road South between South 33rd and South 23rd Street. And Monday, June 27th through approximately August 31st, there'll be Logan Avenue North between North 6th and Airport Way will be closed. This will be an all-day, 24/7 closure to all southbound traffic during construction of Logan Avenue improvement. Southbound Logan North will be rerouted along Park Avenue North to Bronson and South 2nd Street. And I don't have anything on the second side. So that's the extent of the road improvements.
Okay, thank you very much. I also wanted to mention, several of you were with Randy Corman and me at the school board meeting last week, in which we joined Dr. Art Jarvis, Superintendent of the Renton School District, in discussing a partnership that we envisioned between the city and the school district and Doug Baldwin, and everybody knows who Doug Baldwin is. So everybody's eyes perked up when we said Doug Baldwin. They didn't care that Art and I were there, but the vision is looking to see if we can put together enough supporters to build a community center for the Cascade Benson community. It's something that is so seriously needed in that community. It's lacking in a lot of the amenities that we have wanted to provide for a lot of years, and this gives us a great opportunity. The presentation of the school board suggested that we might be able to build a facility at Cascade Elementary School on some of the extra land that they have there, and so that's something that we're exploring. It would make this this community center a possibility, and the school board received that very enthusiastically and wanted us to continue to pursue this project idea and put together some more details on what it could look like. But in the end, if we're able to pull it off, we'd be able to serve hundreds and hundreds of kids and their families in that community. And I know in earlier discussions, we've all been kind of hush-hush about this because we were looking at maybe some property acquisition early on to try to pull this off. So I know you've been sitting on information for a long time that Doug Baldwin was interested in working with us and bringing some partners in with this to make this thing happen. And so, let's see, Carolyn, you were there through the whole meeting. Was there anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, there was a great presentation. I think it's a great idea for the community. It brings together the private sector and the public sector as well as the school district, and I think it's a great, collaborative effort, similar to what we did in the Sunset area with the, the Meadowcrest Playground?
Meadowcrest Playground,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, kind of similar to that, where we had that partnership.
So Randy Corman spoke briefly on how valuable the partnership between Renton Schools and the city has been, and so more to come on that. We need to figure out what next steps will be, but it's exciting, and we certainly hope that we can pull something off in that area. I'm going to put together a couple of staff members to work on this, and I'm going to have a couple council members join us with that process, and the school district, I'm sure, will be doing the same thing. And then Doug Baldwin has already created a team with specialty skills to address this. So we need to come together to discuss what our next steps are. But anyway, it's an exciting time. So, okay. We don't have anybody signed up for audience comments, so we'll move on to consent agenda. We have 8 items for council consideration. Are there any items a council member like pulled for discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Prince.
I'd like to pull item C.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
I move that the council approve the consent agenda minus item C.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Mr. Prince, that council approve the consent agenda minus item C. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Prince?
Yes, we talked about the Benson Hill Task Force and Plan Development this afternoon. I'd like to just make that go council concur.
Okay, that's a motion.
Yes.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. McGurven, that item C be approved as a council concur item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. All right, thank you, Mr. Prince. So we're going to move on to unfinished business.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Ms. Witchy?
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. McGurven?
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Ms. Perez?
No finished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Pavoni?
I have some unfinished business, and
And so do I. I was so
unless
used
I'm going to do all of
Nope,
them.
I was so used to Randy being right here. I was caught off guard when he said my name.
Okay, well, we'll come back to you.
That's fine.
Okay, so I have business from the Finance Committee.
Okay. Finance Committee, committee report. Approval of claims and payroll vouchers. All right, the Finance Committee approves for payment on June 27th, 2016, claim vouchers 347-699 through 348-115, 9 wire transfers, and 1 payroll run with benefit withholding payments totaling $7,054,291.47, and payroll vouchers including 761 direct deposits and 76 payroll checks totaling $1,656,982.94. This is signed by the committee vice chair and member.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni?
I move that the council concur with the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Ms. Perez, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the next Finance Committee report is regarding the 2016 second quarter budget amendment ordinance. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve an amendment in the 2015-2016 budget appropriations in the amount of $1,962,841, with the total amended budget to be $686,112,086 for the biennium. The committee further recommends that the ordinance regarding this matter be presented for first reading and advancement to second reading and adoption. This is signed by the committee chair, vice chair, and member.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni?
I move that the council concur with the committee report.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Ms. Perez, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And the next committee report from the Finance Committee is regarding the new City of Renton website. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the 5-year contract with Reliance Communications for $91,000 with an annual software as a service fee of $15,900 for years 2 through 5. This is signed by the vice chair and member.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni?
I move that the council concur with the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, seconded by Ms. Perez, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the final Finance Committee report is regarding the Return to Renton Benefit Car Show. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence with the staff recommendation to waive parking fees in the city center parking garage for volunteer workers laboring at Return to Renton Benefit Car Show. The waiver is equivalent to $300 in parking fees. This is signed by the vice chair and member.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni?
so I just found out today that this is the 5th year of the car show, very successful event in downtown Renton. And a lot of the funds that are raised are proceeds that go to the Renton Police Department. So with that, I move that the council concur with the recommendation of the Finance Committee report.
Second?
Been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Ms. Perez, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, moving to Mr. Prince.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Plan Development Committee actually does have some committee reports.
Okay, Planning and Development Committee committee report. Approval of a rezone 4-lot short plat site plan review and 2 street waiver modifications for the 168 development. The Planning and Development Committee recommends concurrence with the hearing examiner's recommendation to approve a rezone 4-lot short plat, site plan review, and 2 street waiver modifications for the construction of 3 new townhomes with 2 dwelling units in each for 168 development. The City Council has final reviewing authority over Type 4 land use permits. The site-specific rezone is not associated with a comprehensive plan amendment. The proposed rezone, preliminary short plat, site plan, and 108th Avenue Southeast street standard waivers or modifications are all consistent with applicable code criteria, subject to the 15 conditions of approval. The committee further recommends that an ordinance regarding this matter be presented for first reading. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move that the council concur with the recommendation of the Planning and Development Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. McGurven, that council concur with the Planning and Development Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the next report is regarding sidewalk maintenance and construction. The Planning and Development Committee recommends concurrence with the staff recommendation to amend Chapter 9-8 of the Renton Municipal Code, sidewalk construction, to formalize practices and policies of the Public Works Department with respect to the process by which sidewalk is constructed or repaired, responsibility of improvements, and indemnification from injuries, damage resulting from hazardous conditions. The committee further recommends that an ordinance regarding this matter be presented for first reading. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move that the council concur with the recommendation of the Planning and Development Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. McGurven, that council concur with the Planning and Development Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the final Planning and Development Committee report is regarding the adoption of 2015 construction codes. The Planning and Development Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to amend the Renton Municipal Code that adopts the 2015 construction codes. This will allow the city to utilize the same code as adopted by the state of Washington. Changes proposed to the construction codes were limited to those deemed necessary to provide conformity with the update code additions or for clarification purposes. Changes made to the administrative provisions were to remain consistent with model codes and amendments and with the regional administrative code of cities participating within mybuildingpermit.com. The committee further recommends that an ordinance regarding this matter be presented for first reading. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move that the council concur with the recommendation of the Planning and Development Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. McGurven, that council concur with the Planning and Development Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
And that is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jason. Moving on to legislation, we have 3 ordinances for first reading and 1 for advancement to second and final.
All right, the first ordinance for first reading is regarding sidewalk maintenance and construction. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, repealing Chapter 8 sidewalk construction of Title 9 Public Ways and Property of the Renton Municipal Code and replacing it with a new Chapter 9-8 sidewalk maintenance and construction.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
move that the ordinance be moved to second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. McGurven, that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
The next ordinance is regarding the 2015 construction codes. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending sections 4520, 4550, 4551, 4555, 4560, 4590, 45100, 45110, and 45130 of Chapter 5 Building and Fire Prevention Standards of Title 4 Development Regulations of City Code, adopting by reference and amending the most recent editions of state, national, uniform, and international codes, and amending the Construction Administrative Code.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. McGurven, that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And the final ordinance for first reading is regarding the rezone of 168 development property. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, changing the zoning classification of certain property within the City of Renton, Tract F of King County Parcel 863710, from residential 10 units per net acre, R10, to residential 14 units per net acre, R14.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
Move that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. McIrvin, that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
I have one ordinance for first reading and advancement to second and final reading. It's regarding the second quarter budget amendment. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending the City of Renton fiscal years 2015, 2016 biennial budget as adopted by ordinance number 5737 and thereafter amended by ordinance numbers 5755, 5764, 5777, and 5789 in the amount of $1,962,841.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
I move the ordinance be advanced to second and final reading this evening.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Ms. Perez, that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading this evening. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending the City of Renton fiscal years 2015, 2016 biennial budget as adopted by ordinance number 5737 and thereafter amended by ordinance numbers 5755, 5764, 5777, and 5789 in the amount of $1,962,841.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Ms. Perez, that this ordinance be adopted as read and requires a roll call.
Mr. Pavoni,
Aye.
Mr. Prince,
Aye.
Ms. Switchy,
Aye.
Mr. McIrvin,
Aye.
Ms. Perez.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it.
And we actually have one more ordinance
Yeah,
for
I see
second and
that.
final reading. This ordinance is regarding a franchise agreement with Sprint Communications. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, granting unto Sprint Communications Company, LP, authorized to do business within the state of Washington, its affiliates, successors, and assigns the right, privilege, authority, and master permit to install communication facilities under, along, over, below, and through and across the streets, avenues, and alleys of the City of Renton within the public right-of-way of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. McIrvin.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. McIrvin, second by Ms. Perez, that this ordinance be adopted as read and requires a roll call.
Hey, Mr. Pavoni,
Aye.
Mr. Prince,
Aye.
Ms. Switchy,
Aye.
Mr. McIrvin,
Aye.
Ms. Perez.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you, Jason. Moving on to new business, Mr. Pavoni.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I've got quite a bit here. So July 4th, on Monday, there will be no meetings. Will be Independence Day. And then on Monday, July 11th, at 4:30, the Public Safety Committee will be meeting in the council conference room. We have two issues, Justice Assistant Grant acceptance and emerging issues in public safety. And then also on July 11th, Monday, at 5 p.m., the Finance Committee will be meeting in the council conference room. We have 5 items on the agenda: vouchers, advance refunding of the 2008 water sewer refunding bonds, new job order contractor, legislative budget briefing, and the final one, emerging issues and revenue streams. And then also on July 11th, at 6 p.m., the Committee of the Whole will be meeting in the council chambers, and we have 2 items, demonstration of electronic court record systems and King County solid waste proposal fee increase. That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Prince.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'm making a motion to add a meeting on August 15th back in for this year, since there's the 5th Monday, and so we would have a 5th Monday and then Labor Day, and we wouldn't be back here for a few weeks. So I'm adding a council
Second.
meeting on August 15th.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Pavoni, that we add council meeting on August 15th.
Yes, sir.
Any questions, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Ms. Witchy.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. McIrvin.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and Ms. Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Monday, July 11, at 4 o'clock, we will have a transportation committee in the council conference room. We have 3 items in the agenda. First one is Sunset Lane Supplemental Agreement. The second is Sound Transit 3 update, and the third one will be emerging issues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. What's the wish of the council?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Pavoni, that we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.